Call the meeting to order. Good evening and welcome to the September 15, 2014 meeting of BUHS number 6. Call the meeting to order at just about 7 o'clock. And we will start with the clerk's report and the approval of our meeting, which last meeting was August 11th. Is there a motion?
I move the minutes of August 11th as presented.
Okay.
I'll second them.
Okay, Ricky and Ruth. Are there any additions, corrections, deletions to those minutes? Was a while ago. Okay, if not, all in favor of approving the minutes of August 11th, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? And abstentions?
Same.
We have Ian, Lori, and Melanie. There, not there. Okay, approval of the minutes. Communications. Anybody receive any communications? Anything else for the clerk's report? Okay, I see that we have no individuals or visitors or groups out there. So we would move on to consent agenda. Is there a motion to go into consent agenda?
So moved.
Lori, second?
Second.
Russ? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Seeing none, we are in consent agenda, and we will start with the report of the Finance Committee.
The Finance Committee met on August 27th, and we did a tour of the building, which looks fantastic. We also did some routine business. We approved warrants 1006, 1007, 1008, 1010, 1011 for a total of $122,725.30. Also, warrants numbers 1012, 1013, 1014, 1015, 1016, 1018, 1019, 1020, and 1021 for a total of $492,996.43. Also, warrant numbers 1022, 1025, 1026, 1027, and 1028 in a total of $253,361.01. And payrolls, we did payrolls of July 11th in the amount of $443,171.31, and payroll of July 25th, the amount of $452,515.46.
Numbers.
That was a lot of numbers, and I think I got them all straight, because I checked them against the thing for tonight.
Is that it?
Do you remember anything else we did?
Well, no, but I would just add that our next finance meeting is this Wednesday, which is the 17th at 8 o'clock in central office, James Kane room. And our representative from Vernon, Mr. Collier, has agreed to join the Finance Committee. And we welcome him. And we're going to give him several research projects. First thing to start out with. Just to add a little bit of a comment about the tour, there was a lot of work. As you may remember, there was planned things to happen during the summer, painting the auto shop, the whole new telephone system, and quite a few other projects around some security changes in the front office. And as part of the tour, we got to see all of those, and everything was completed. Well, not quite completed at the time, but completed before school started. I believe everything was done within the budgets that were allocated, and some really nice enhancements. The automotive shop looks just fantastic. I hope they're not bringing cars in there and grease and oil on the floor. It really, it was just beautiful. And, so I congratulate the staff and pass it along to Robert and his crew. And as Ruth said, everything was sparkly clean, and it was a place to be proud of. And you know, that was quite a bit of work. It was bid off for summer, and very well done.
I would like to add that, please note that Finance Committee meets an hour later now than we were in the habit of meeting. It might be easier for people to come and visit us.
You can get up by 8 o'clock. Okay. Thank you. Planning and policy is next. I believe you have.
Planning and policy met today before the meeting. Reviewed the student survey data on the dress code Steve provided us, and talked about our timeline for the other meetings, survey going out for parents, and some strategies for involving students. As for the other policies that are up, we had a concern on F-24, the firearms policy, that we have brought to Ron because we noticed that in the policy we were given, the definitions were not included in the policy. It simply said that they would be on file, and we were very uncomfortable with that. And Ron agreed and has added those definitions back into the policy.
If I could just speak to that. I think what we've noticed over the last couple of years, the Vermont School Board Association has looked at the model policies and really pared them back. Like the firearms is a good example. The new policy really doesn't have any of the federal or state statutes that are included in the old policy. So I thought it made sense to put those definitions in, because otherwise, in terms of the application of this, if there's an incident that I would typically review with one of the principals, we would then have to go and research the statutes, which I have them here, but it's nicer if they're right in the policy. So I think we've just made that modification, and I think it makes sense for the new version to be the final consideration.
And this will be the second reading of that tonight,
Yes.
so it won't be the vote on it yet.
Right, it'll be the second reading.
So you'll redistribute the,
Yeah, I gave
I have some paper copies.
a couple.
I mean, so that when we vote, and when the board votes on it, that
Yeah, that we would have that done after tonight's meeting.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Under unfinished business, we will do the second readings and so forth. Okay, Teacher Curriculum Committee.
We met earlier this evening at 6:30. We got an update, brief update on the 1% summer projects that teachers and staff were working on, where those stand, and we started creating a schedule of when we're going to be able to go see presentations by the faculty. And we're hoping that our first meeting in October, that Monday, the 6th, we will have, the 6th at 6 o'clock, we will actually have a couple of presentations that we're going to go to the classrooms and see before our regular board meeting. So Mr. Haas is on the process of setting that up. And we also got a little bit of an update on the rollout of the Chromebooks for the freshmen. And I don't want to steal any, I know Steve's going to report on that, so I won't steal any more thunder, but we got a little preview of that at TCC.
Okay, thank you. BAMS Committee.
And BAMS committee met this morning at 7:45, and I'm sure Keith will report on this too, but the biggest thing is related that I took out of our meeting this morning is related to the fact that we actually have a good problem in that enrollment is up above projection pretty dramatically. We're just shy of 300 students in the middle school when we were projected to be in the 270s. So it's a pretty big jump. So that's causing some restructuring of some staff time, and also the one-to-one with the Chromebooks. Just we didn't order enough Chromebooks because we didn't know that we were going to get that many kids. So they went over the plan on fixing that.
Where'd they all come from?
All over the place?
Yeah, I think they didn't come from any one particular place. Some were new to that moved into the district, and others came from outlying towns that instead of going to where they could have gone to, opted to come to BAMS. So.
Just as an example, in Brattleboro town, we had about 19 move-ins within the last 2 weeks before school. So it's going to be some siblings.
Yeah, and from what we heard this morning too, many of the ones that came into BAMS were within like 2 weeks of school starting, and some even after the school year started. So declining enrollment is not an issue for us right now. And that's it.
Great, thank you. WRCC committee has not met since this last one. Okay.
You have a RAP meeting coming up, right?
Yes, 30th of September.
It's not tomorrow. Oh,
That's
it's
all.
moved, right.
Yeah.
RAB is Regional Advisory Board meeting on the 30th. Okay. Anything else? If not, is there a motion to accept consent agenda?
So moved.
Second. And second by Sean. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? Seeing none, passed unanimously. And we move on to administrative reports. And why don't we, since we've been talking about BAMS, continue.
All right.
Keith?
Hi, everyone. Let's see. So I'll do a quick review on some of the things I discussed with the BAMS committee. We're rolling out one-to-one Chromebooks. One issue we've had is we don't have enough carts, and we're trying to decide, the rollaway carts that you can lock them up with. We're trying to figure out whether it's worth the investment of purchasing carts for those, or whether we can do some type of alternative. We haven't done what the high school's doing at this point, which is sending them home. We're going to keep them in-house for now, and so we've worked as a staff to create a schedule on when the kids would pick them up and when they would drop them off. So we're just trying to work out all those details. We are short some Chromebooks, so we're trying to order those. But we're pretty excited. We sent home contracts today with the 7th grade. We're going to roll those out hopefully Wednesday of this week. We're going to get Chromebooks out. And the teachers at the 7th graders had Chromebooks with it last year for a portion of the year. So they're really eager to get going with that. We have open house the 25th at the middle school. And we're combining 7th and 8th grade. I think last year in the past they've done a separate night for each grade, but they're doing it together this year, and looking forward to that. Created if you go to the main BAMS webpage, we created a homework link. Right on the front page, we got the 4 cores and the UFOs, which are the exploratory classes, and trying to make homework very transparent, easy to find for parents, and the teachers have really done a nice job. It's linked through Google, so they can just go on and type the homework, and it's instant. It's there. Don't even have to save it. It's nice. We've added a small amount of para-help in the mornings because we have so many kids in the cafeteria. When in the past it wasn't as, I don't know, when they come in the mornings it was so packed in the cafeteria that we decided we had to separate them and get a little more help supervising them. Beams began today, so that's a pretty, it's nice to see kids leaving this evening from school because they've been in activities all afternoon, so that was great. And that's a quick update.
Thank you. How about the Career Center, Michael?
Thanks, Mike. Well, the WRCC is off to a great start this year. I want to first thank Robert Clark for arranging the painting of the auto shop. I want to touch base of, what he had said earlier. And he had it done on time before school started, and it looks great. It has Career Center color, blue and white, so the kids are really excited to come into a brand new looking auto shop. I'm pleased to share that the Culinary Arts program this year will be hosting a new program with nursing home groups from the Thompson House and Vernon Green. And the students will be serving them lunch on a monthly basis. And this will give the kids firsthand experience and practice the soft skills and 21st century skills that we push on them every day. And they'll be able to practice with their elders. I can't find a much better way for these kids to practice these skills. So we're really excited. Tomorrow we'll have Vernon Green, and last week we had Thompson House. They average around 7 to 10 residents. Really excited about eating lunch with in this nice school. Our FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America, Skills USA, and FFA students will be attending the Big E this Friday, and they will have assignments related to their specified area concentration. So about 3/4 of the day they will be working and meeting the different states, the buildings, those of you that have been to the Big E, and they have to interview a lot of the businesses involved at the Big E. Then they get 1/4 of the day they get to play and eat fair food. So it's a great time had by all. The forestry class this Friday will also be attending a New Hampshire Construction Days in Concord, New Hampshire, and it's a construction career day. It's a nonprofit organization which brings students together with the construction and transportation industries to explore options through hands-on activities. And there's over 800 students that will be attending a 2-day event. So it's a great opportunity for kids. They get to drive very large machinery and trucks and explore those options. The biomedical courses, new this year, are off to a great start. I've been in the classrooms a few times, and the students are actively engaged and up and moving around, learning at different learning areas of the classroom. And Michelle Hood and Dan Braden are really excited about teaching the classes. After their extensive Project Lead the Way training this summer, they went through a 2-week training in Maryland that gave them a crash course of the whole program in a 2-week period that Steve touched on this summer. And I did have a resignation this past summer. Diane Heileman, she was our dual enrollment coordinator for dual enrollment through WRCC in the high school. So I do need a vote on her resignation.
Okay. We can attend to that right now if someone wants to make a motion.
I move we accept the resignation of Diane Howland with regret.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Good. She's been a great asset.
She has. She's worked at the Career Center for 10 years.
Yeah.
Will be very missed. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, well, what's this numbers look like in terms of enrollment? Are we about where we expected to be?
We are looking good, and I think we're up about 10 students from Hinsdale and Bellows Falls school districts.
Great.
Yeah.
For a while, we had very few, if any, from Hinsdale.
Yeah, we're at about 14 from Hinsdale this year.
Can I just confirm, who were the RAB, the Regional Advisory Board representatives? We have in the past invited other board members to attend. I know some have. So if the date was September
30th, 12 o'clock.
At 12 o'clock, if we
In
knew
this room.
others were interested or available, it'd be great to have you come.
And I'll be showcasing 3 programs during the RAB meeting as well.
I have a question, Michael. On the culinary arts program involving the two nursing homes, Thompson House, and do they come here or do you go there?
They come here
Okay.
and eat in our kitchen,
Interesting.
dining area.
Is it particular days of the week that they come, or as scheduled?
As scheduled, one group comes at the beginning of the month, and it's not a specific day as of right now. We're going to work to establish that. Yes.
Are you looking for a replacement for the dual enrollment coordinator position?
That position has been actually filled through a high school position.
Sharing or something?
Yeah, it's worked out really well.
Good.
And Diane's taken a position at Marlboro College as a registrar, so it's very similar to what she's been doing. But it works out really well for us that the guidance department staffing that we've had, we were making that transition anyway, and so this has kind of sped it up, and it's working out really well.
Good.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Perrin.
Thank you. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but like BAMS and the WRCC, we're off to a great start this year. We're pretty excited. Our themes with our faculty this year are technology, and I'll talk more about that in a few minutes, and also effective collaboration. One of the things that we need to do better as a high school community among the teachers is a better job of collaborating and working together. And so we're actually using professional learning communities on a weekly basis this year to kind of help teachers talk to each other about Common Core, talk about how they teach it, how they assess it. And so far the response has been very good to that, and we're excited about that process. And John Kersey, Peter Canizero, Tessa Anders, Nancy Johnston, and Alex Kinlock have been instrumental in starting that process and really getting the faculty jump-started in those communities. Thursday, we'll have our open house. That'll begin at 6:30 with a very short welcome from me. And then students will follow, or parents will follow their student schedule on an abbreviated basis. And that's usually a great chance to come and see what we do here, a chance to meet some teachers, see what's going on. Parent conferences will be in October, and that's a more formal chance to do a one-on-one conversation. VUHS TV kicked off this morning with a great show. A couple of problems with audio. It's a small class of about 6 kids. They're pretty eager and pretty enthusiastic. That does go up to BCTV, so if you get a chance, you can actually go online and you can watch the broadcast every morning. And Allison Cram is teaching that this year, and she's done a great job working with the kids and getting them ready. Also in the art department, Liz Denord and a couple of the other art teachers have secured a grant from the Vermont Arts Council. It's a $750 grant, and we're going to use that money to do a residency, a 3-day printmaking residency with Linda Lou Nordstrom. And she's going to come here for 3 days working with students and with teachers after school. We're pretty excited about that. It kind of represents the kickoff for our Arts Academy and a chance for kids to come in and work with professionals. And we're hoping that we can continue to bring professional artists into the school to kind of see what's going on and share their expertise with kids. I know Liz is very excited about getting that grant, and we'll hear more about that as we get here. Also, on September 2nd, we distributed 172 Chromebooks to parents and their students. We made the deliberate choice to require a parent meeting in order to get the Chromebooks because schools that have done one-to-one rollouts have done that and done it effectively. And it's a chance to really let the parents know what the policies are, what the procedures are. So about 3 weeks ahead of the meeting, we sent home the policies and procedures, asked parents to read them over, come see us with any questions. Karen Tronosky did a great presentation on why we chose Chromebooks and what they're good for and how kids can use them. And then Bob Wickberg and George Berniger have done incredible work supporting the rollout, getting them out. We've had so far very little what they call new mortality. So the Chromebooks have, sometimes they just don't work, but we've been very lucky. And so far we've had actually 1 Chromebook damaged, and the students are bringing them home, and that is a 4-year commitment. We have 4 students right now that do not yet have their Chromebooks for various reasons, and we're working with parents to kind of help that process along. Parents were very supportive at the meeting. They were very happy that we're doing this. And I want to thank the board for their support in the budget process for starting that program. The day after, we distributed them on a Tuesday, and that Wednesday I did a walkthrough in the school, and I deliberately walked through freshman classes. And within the first block, the first 2 periods of the day, I must have seen 6 or 7 classes where the teachers were using the Chromebooks, kids are using them. I walked into a health classroom. They were using them, and they were using Google Drive and Google Apps for Education to come up with their Google site that represents what they are in terms of their health and what their health goals are down the road. Ashley Netto in diversity has used them almost every day. Today, I was in 2 IPS classes, 9th grade science. They're using them to do lab write-ups. So they're getting used heavily, which is great. And I'm sure as we move along, I'm going to invite some teachers to come to the board and share what they've done. And I spent actually a week using a Chromebook in place of any other electronic device here. And they're versatile. They can do what you need them to do. And they don't do high-end math programs like Geomet or Sketchpad, but they do a lot of other great things. So we're very pleased with that. Finally, I'd like to extend a welcome to Rob O'Connor. Jesse Hall, who was our safety coordinator, left us this summer to take a position in Massachusetts. So we did a pretty extensive search, and we settled on Rob O'Connor. He comes to us with extensive experience as a school resource officer and also extensive law enforcement experience. Rob's a great addition to the staff. We're pretty excited to have him here. We think he's going to be able to take over the community aspect of the work that Jesse Hall used to do. And we wish Jesse well, but we're glad that we have Rob. I think he's going to do a great job.
So what is his title?
School Safety Coordinator.
I have a question about the Chromebooks.
Sure.
So there was, I think it might have been BAMS that had the issues with some folks. I think the contract, there was a damage clause in the contract, and the parents were not pleased with that. Was there any adjustment made to the contracts this year?
We actually used a contract. We took South Burlington's contract and Rutland's contract, and we kind of took the best of those, and we used that. Parents are responsible for the damage. Obviously, if a student deliberately damages it, they'll be charged. If it's something like, for example, we had an occasion where at BAMS, some of the Chromebook screens just went blank for no reason last year. I mean, obviously we'd accommodate that, but so far so good.
I shouldn't have said anything.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Do those screens tend to crack like an iPad sometimes does?
I don't think more than any other laptop.
Do we have the ability to change the screens, or do they have to go back?
We do. We can swap them out.
Okay.
Yeah. We can swap out screens.
We had to return more than 20 of ours last year because the touchpad was malfunctioning. So we bought a different. They did actually. I think it was closer to 40 of them. They did replace them and got them back for the start of the year, and we bought Acers this time. Those were Samsungs. So
There was some part that I think wasn't a replaceable part, and they had to replace the whole book. But
And they all have beautiful purple covers.
Wow.
So you can always tell.
how are the numbers in the academies?
The Arts Academy is up to 11 students right now. The STEM Academy is smaller at about 7. I think it might be at 8 now. What I anticipate is with the biomedical courses being so popular, I anticipate that we'll see some increase in those pretty soon. We're at about where most schools are when they launch academies. Essex did theirs several years ago when we went to visit them. It was their 3rd year, and they were at 7 and 9 students. So it takes a little while for it to get into the culture of the school, but we're on our way.
Good.
Okay, thank you. How about the central office?
So I'll ask for a brief executive session, actually for 2 matters, contractual matter and a personnel matter at the end of this meeting. I mentioned to Sean that the Guilford Board is hoping that on, it's a tentative date, but October 20th, that they could get a middle school update in terms of the transition, how things are going with the BAM's middle school transition with their Guilford students. So I'll talk to Keith about that. I think they'd hope that Sean, as a rep from this board, would be able to attend that. So it may conflict with one of your regular meetings, but we'll work around that. So I'll talk to you about that. And I think I heard somebody mentioning the VSBA meeting that's this Wednesday, the 17th in Springfield. Do we have members of this committee that are planning to attend?
Ruth and I are going.
So that starts at 5 with a light dinner. I think it's really good that the Secretary of Education, Rebecca Holcomb, will be presenting along with Steve Dale and the other VSBA reps. But it'll be an important session, so I think my sense is that every board in our district is being represented at that meeting.
And you can still register, at least as of today. There was an email going around. There's still time to register.
Wednesday
Wednesday at 5 p.m.
at the Springfield High
at
School?
Springfield High School.
Yeah.
And then an upcoming SU board meeting, we've scheduled that for October 9th. And that would be at Putney Central School at 6:30. So October 9th.
What night of the
It's a
week is
Thursday?
that?
Just Thursday.
Okay.
6:30. So you'll have time to think about who your reps are and coverage and that sort of thing.
And where was that again?
Putney Central School.
Are regular reps, as far as they know, able to attend?
I think so.
I'm sorry?
I think I can, yeah.
I may not be able to. That particular one.
Okay.
It's
Well, let
the
me- let
last
us
night
know.
of apple pie making. It'll depend on how the pies are
Well,
doing.
if you get it done early, bring them over.
Oh,
We can
1,500?
test some out. Well, if you let me
You might
know
make a
if
mistake,
you
couple
can.
bad
I believe I'm the substitute.
You are.
Yeah. CSU Putney, I'm sorry, what time was that?
6:30?
Okay. All
That's it for now.
right. Okay, thank you.
I will really try to get there.
Board Chair, Ron covered two of the things I was going to talk about, the Springfield meeting. It is great that we're going to have the secretary there, Rebecca Holcomb, partially at the governor's request, and I don't know if you had a chance to look at the letter that the governor sent to her, Secretary Holcomb, back towards the end of August regarding his thoughts and issues that they ought to be working on, and we all ought to be working on. It's definitely worth reading, and it was sent around by the SBA, I want to say maybe a week or two ago.
Yeah, I think it was last week.
Last week. And it kind of shows you where, what their line of thinking is, and obviously now that the agency reports to the governor, there will be activities along those lines. And it's quite an extensive letter, but indicates what legislative initiatives we may be seeing. And I've noted an interest that there's a fair number of things on there that he's suggesting get done that we're kind of out in front of. But I think it's a worthwhile read. I want to just pass out copies of my notes from the planning session in August. Now, I will say that I am not an expert at taking notes and participating at the same time. Matter of fact, maybe I'm not an expert on either, but I think I got most of the salient points. So I was going to pass these around, and I may have passed too many that way. I can't even can't count them correctly. And what I did was try to kind of summarize our review of last year's goals, and then kind of two-section on the second page, which is what we agreed to for this current year, both kind of full board goals and then some committee goals. So we don't have to go through them all right now. But when you get a chance, take a look, and if there's something glaring that I've missed, certainly let's add it to the list. And I think it was a worthwhile session, and I particularly like to review the prior year, because often when goals are set and plans are made, it goes in a strategic planning book that gets put up on the shelf, and we don't go back and check on it. In this case, I think we reviewed that pretty well.
Thank you for doing this, Bob.
I'll get a copy of that.
And I think I had the attendance read too, but, okay, the SBA, the governor's letter, the SCSU, and I believe that's it for my report, and I believe that's it for administrative reports. Next item is unfinished business, and we have some policy readings, I believe.
Yep, we have the policies there for second reading. I have no notes on them other than the one I presented earlier about the firearms policy, and the new copy of that will be distributed to everybody. Does anyone else have anything they noted or want to add on anything?
Were there any other concerns about the other policies, board relations with administrators, participation in home study, or self-expression?
I don't believe there was anything beyond punctuation issues and such, correct?
I'm just looking back, yeah, I had sent around, sent you some comments, just questions on that. I'm just looking at, which one is this? Firearms, I had some
So that's the change.
questions, so there are some changes there.
The other one was about board relations. The administration recommends the
That's a bigger
position, and the board actually does the hiring. That was one of the questions that you had on
which is
C7.
not accurate.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like most of these are sort of typos and just clarifying. So most of the substance was in the firearms, which we'll see. Go ahead.
I had a clarifying question, I guess, on C7, since we're talking about it. Relations with the principals, item 3. Superintendent will meet with administrators at the beginning of the school year to discuss goals and objectives and share with the board results of the discussions with administrators. Well, that's essentially the district-wide plan.
Yeah.
That would be.
Administrators do individual goals and
Yeah.
provide them to me, but they match the action plan that we talked about.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming anybody that was absent, I think you asked to get the action plan out to the 3 members that we
Yes.
talked here. So that's coming through email.
Yeah. And there was one other item from that.
Or the safety letter.
The safety letter, so that's coming out. We didn't send the whole emergency response plan to all 3 of you. That was covered by the team, but we have that if you're interested in reading that. But that was what they basically went over. And then Lori had a question about who one of the attendees was, and it was Wayne Stiers, who was the chief dispatcher.
At the police.
Yeah, well, it's police, it's everything that goes right out of that dispatch office there. So, and he was quite instrumental in helping to develop the program.
Good.
Yeah. Okay.
And just as a point of information, we'll connect Rob O'Connor with the planning team that's been working. Jesse was a member of that, so we'll be working with that emergency response team.
Rob and Peter and I are meeting next week.
What was Rob's last name again? O'Connor.
Actually, just on that C7, the question that I had was, the superintendent recommends administrators to be hired. So, I mean, we've never had any disagreements, so don't worry. But we've ratified. Is the statute that you make the decision, or that we?
No,
make the decision?
I bring the decision to the board.
To the
The
board.
board makes the decision.
That's what I'm sure.
So in our past practice, you would have seen that with Michael's position that became permanent and Keith's position as a new BAMS principal.
Oh, I knew it was both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you disagree, then we get in trouble.
Okay, that's clear.
Well, what I'm really saying is, hopefully, it's an extensive process that the board has been part of.
Oh, that's what I mean.
Glad you clarified that.
Just to clarify that.
Yeah, no, it's been done together, and there was no surprises or disagreement along the way. But somehow I had in the back of my mind some of this a statute had changed to make it your decision that we recommend, but it's not. Okay.
How about no one goes anywhere and then we don't have to?
Yeah, because we have a nice new yellow card, name card.
Exactly.
And we all have the same font.
Is that it for policy, second reading? So these
Those
will be
ready for, to vote on for adoption next.
Okay. And if anybody had a final review, sees an issue or question, let Ian know. Okay, anything else under unfinished business? If not, we have an item of new business.
So these are the VSBA annual dues that are based on your budget and numbers of students and that sort of thing. It's the type of thing that's budgeted for each year. So we would ask for a motion to accept that as payment.
Okay. This is for the 2014-15 year dues, and included in the dues are all the regional meetings and seminars, and there's a good value behind it. It's not just automatically paying dues to be part of it. How much? $3,300.
And the other real benefit is the fact that we have the Vermont School Board Insurance Trust is part of the affiliation that allows us to get the health insurance for the whole district, BUHS 6, at a reduced cost than what it would otherwise. So that's a real benefit.
I used to be on that board, like VSBA Insurance Trust. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
I move that we pay the dues for the 2014-2015 School Board Association in the amount of $3,311.37.
Second.
There's a second from Lori. Okay. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed or abstentions? None? Okay. Approved. Anything else under new business?
I just have one question. It's got nothing to do with new business or anything. It's regarding what Keith said about congestion in the morning. Keith, what time does school start and what time do you open the doors?
There are some kids that get here before 8, but we're generally here. We keep them right in the lobby, just inside the front entrance. But it's not a lot of kids, and it's generally okay. They start to really pile in after 8, 8:15, and 8:15 to 8:30 is when most of the buses arrive, and we release them from the cafeteria around 8:35. So it's about a half an hour window there.
Okay, so we would like to have a motion to go into executive session for both a contract matter and a personnel matter.
I move we go into executive session for a personnel matter and a contract matter.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
After the 10 minutes.
Have to request a 2-minute break.